360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to be here today. We've got a great show for you lined up. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And I'm eagerly waiting for our guest to be here, Mr. Joel Peterson. Joel just texted me a little bit ago. He's still on the phone counseling a veteran. And that is very, very important. And I, just said, well, hurry in when you get a chance, But Joel has been with us before, and he's going to be with us as soon as he gets off the phone with that a very important counseling call, because he works with veterans with PTSD and that sort of thing. Obviously, that's not a phone call that he wants to rush. And we certainly understand that. But this week, we're talking about stress. Now, on Friday, we're going to be talking about some good stress. But this is Wednesday. We're going to get down to some more, stressful things and things of that nature. On Monday, we had Dr. George Grant, Professor Dr. George Grant. He's got 3 doctorate's degree. He has worked with the CDC here, the Center of Disease Control in the United States. He's worked with the Canadian Health Board up in Canada. He is an amazing individual. His website is, let me put this up here because this could be a benefit for some of you folks out there. And when I say a benefit here, I'm not talking about, something for money out of your pocket. Here we go. Dr. Grant, and we're no relation. We kid about being distant cousins. The distance, we didn't even know each other. We were related or anything. But the Academy of Wellness. Let me tell you what. We've had Dr. Grant, George, I call him. We've had George on the show for, I think, 3 times. We had him on, I don't remember the sequence here, but we've had him on 3 times. I know that. The first time we had him on, or the second time we had him on, it'd be the first time we had him on. He held up his phone. He was talking about this little AO scanner that he's got in his cell phone. Or it looks like a cell phone. Maybe it's the device itself. I'm sure it is. I stand corrected. It is a device. And he holds it up, and just like I held my phone up there just a moment ago in front of the camera there on the edge of it. And he scanned me, and I didn't know it. And then we had him on the second time. After the show was over, we were visiting, and he says, Jim, let me scan you again. I said, again? He said, yeah, I scanned you the first time because he wanted to get a foundation. And that's when he told me to change some things in my life. It should be clear in my mind, but it's coming back to me, to be honest with you. And so after we had him on the second time, he scanned me. And then he called me with the results, and he sent me the results, and we went over the results. And I'll tell you what, that scan that he did on me was like a 3D MRI. And you would not think taking a scanning photograph of me, just like what you see is all he could see. You would not believe the information that thing had. Now, for you doubting Thomases out there, let me tell you something. We're going over this thing, and I mean, this thing is I've never seen anything as detailed as this from a medical test, okay? And he says, "Oh, Jim, you see this marker here?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "You got a problem in your left shoulder." Yes, I do. It had been bothering me for a couple of months. It's one of those deals, when you're at age, I'm 73 years of age. It's one of those deals when you don't really realize you've done anything, but then, oh, ouch. I guess I heard it, so it's going to hurt me back. But how would he know that from taking that little scan? And the benefit, the reason why I'm sharing this with you, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that I just got a message from Joel. Let me see what he has to say there. But the benefit in that, he's finishing up. Anyway, the message in that, the benefit for you is that if you get in touch with with George Grant, and he's got a form that you fill out there. But anyway, if you mention this TV show or say your cousin from the TV show sent me, he will do a free AO scan for you. I mean, this thing, if I sat here and shared with you all of the details, I'm talking about 40 pages of stuff. I am not exaggerating, folks. I mean, you're going to sit there and go, and most of the stuff is these big, they're medical terms. You're not going to understand them. But what he showed me was that when he took my first scan and he told me, you need to do some things in your life. I recommend you do this and recommend you do that. I thought he was just making suggestions to me. I didn't know he'd had that first scan because there was a lot of red markers there. And then when he did the second scan, those red markers had turned to green. Red stop, green go, that kind of a deal. So that was a good thing. But how would he know that I hurt my arm or had some tenderness in my shoulder? And that's something that's really kind of unique to humans, isn't it? Charley horses and, aches and pains like that, because you never see a bird take off from the limb and go, oh, ouch. I guess I'm going to be walking for a couple of weeks. I saw a comedian do that much more funnier than I did. And I'm trying to think of his name. Brad Upton is his name. If you want to see a funny comedian, Brad Upton on YouTube. And he is really a fun guy to watch. Great guy. Tremendous comedian. And so Monday we had George come in on part one of the stress. And we were talking about nutrition, because nutrition is the foundation of your mental and physical health. We all realize that. But one of the best things you can do for yourself is make sure you drink plenty of water. Not soda pop or not, iced tea. I mean, anything. Don't drink sugar. Sugar is one of the worst things you can put in your body. But we started right there with that one there. And you can go back and watch part one on Monday. It's on E360 TV. Just scroll down to positive vibrations and go to the right. If that's the right, or is this the right? Anyway, go to your right. And you'll see messages of inspirational stories, and click on that. And all of our previous shows are there, including the last 2 weeks when we had Mr. X on. For you folks that's in business, you folks that's in marketing, get it out of your head right now that there's going to be, you want things to come back to normal. That's not going to happen. There's a new normal coming, and no one really knows what it is. And that's what I went into yesterday. Because I talked about, it seemed like every 100 years, 1720, there was the plague, the bubonic plague. And then in 1820, there was the cholera outbreak. And then 1920 was the Spanish flu. And then 2020, we had, of course, the coronavirus. And just kind of in a humorous kind of way. And of course, I'm not laughing about people getting sick and getting, dying and even being sick for that matter. That's not funny, but it seemed like every 100 years, Mother Nature comes up with some way to kind of like thin the herd a little bit. But we went through that because people who are just waiting for things to get back to normal, it's not going to happen. Because you're looking in the rearview mirror, and think about the rearview mirror on your car. It's very small. You should be looking out the windshield, which is very big. And that's extremely important because people who are living under the falsehood that when things get back to normal, life is going to continue on as we know it. And that's not going to happen. There's too many changes. It's already happened. A lot of businesses have went out of business. A lot of people have lost their jobs. Things are not, those businesses are, a lot of them will not be able to come back. Not all of them, of course. Some of them will come back, some of them won't. And some people who lost their jobs will, find jobs or already have found jobs. But all of this brings undue stress on everybody. It brings stress on the household. It brings stress on you. The main thing of it is that I can tell you right now is please do not beat yourself up because you're not in control of the coronavirus or the way these things work in our society. I'm not in control. You're not in control. And even the higher ups, let me say that, and I'll leave it like that. The higher ups, they're not in control either. They think they are. But they're in the canyons of their mind. They can do anything. Problem is that I see Joel backstage there. Hi, Joel. Be with you in a second. He's waving at me. But the problem with that is, the real power comes from the universe. And the two things that's in the universe that you want, the first one is love, and the second one is abundance. And that's what you need to tap into right now to deal with stress, to deal with your life. Because 100 years ago, this life on planet Earth did not matter. 100 years from now, this life on planet Earth will not matter. So why should you and I get all stressed out, all uptight over some politician or something that someone said, or we feel like we're pushing a chain uphill or something of this nature, because that is above and beyond our ability to control in this life. And when we try to control it, we get out of control emotionally. And it just really puts undue stress on us. So what I highly recommend for you to do, there is a book here by Bill Heinrich. I know Bill very well, and I do not receive any compensation from Bill for doing this. This is my one way of paying it forward. The 7 Levels of Truth. You can see the book there. Bill took 25 years of his life to create this book. He was miserable. He was a failure. He was unhappy. He walked away from his life. The only thing he took was his name. And he went on a journey. And he recorded what he found about getting out of the physical and living in the abundance of love that comes from the universe. Because the only place anything physical can exist is on planet Earth. It can't exist on Mars. It can't exist on Jupiter or anywhere in the Milky Way. But love exists everywhere. And that is the driving force that creates the universe to keep on expanding. And let me invite this young man here to the stage, my good friend, Mr. Joel Peterson. How are you today, sir? You got your camera off. You had it on. I clicked you on there, brother. I love that title you give yourself, The Professional Patient. While he figures out how to turn on his camera there so you can see it in place. If you want to also email Dr. You can do that at drgrantwellness@gmail.com. Hey, he's got a problem there, I guess. Hey, brother. And I understand how that goes. Pardon that, please. And also, too, there is a free YouTube video, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale on YouTube. You can also go and he has got kicked out of the studio. I'm not kicked out. He's having communication problems. Let's see him there. Okay. There you are, sir.
Amen. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Hear you loud and clear, Joel. How you doing?
I'm good. We're refurbishing Doc's office, and I'm in the middle of different rooms, and I had to get to the router right next to the router.
Yeah, I hear you. And I heard the D word there just a moment ago.
Yeah.
That's
shoot.
okay, brother. We all have stress, and it's okay. Don't sweat the small stuff. I was just telling about The Strangest Secret
I was
that's on
fortunate
YouTube. I was just sharing with about The Strangest Secret
to do
by
my
Earl
job.
Nightingale.
I was on the phone with a veteran who.
Mm-hmm. Your audio is cut out a little bit there, brother.
You're breaking.
Okay, you're breaking up on me, so let me put you backstage. We'll try to get a better connection. We'll go from there. So anyway, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. This is, you can listen to it on YouTube. If you're a reader and you like to read, just Google The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. I don't remember the website, but I downloaded a PDF there free of charge in the written form. So if you like to read rather than, listen to a podcast, because that's what it is. It's an MP3. It's not an MP4. It's not a movie or anything. It's just his solitary picture there with his audio. And that's an MP3 that's been converted to an MP4. And let's see, we got him back up there again. Let's see how this is working here for us. Let's see here.
Amen. Amen. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good considering the circumstances.
Oh, yeah. You've had a stressful day, and we're talking about stress this week. And, everybody suffers from stress to some degree. We all do. You say I'm breaking up again?
Might not be on my end.
Usually if I break up, if there's something wrong with the connection, my picture will freeze. That'd be the first thing to do, and it's not freezing, so I guess I'm good to go. Plus, I know I'm on a very good signal here with the hotspot that I'm using. So, anyway, brother, I just wanted to.
You're breaking up again. Let me see if I can go to iPad.
Okay, all right. I'll put you backstage and just come on back when you can. And a lot of times when things go wrong on a live show, people get stressed out, but not me, because you know what? That's above and beyond my control. And if I cannot control it, I'm not going to worry about it, because all it's going to do is just, make me feel like a washcloth getting wrung out, feel like I get run through a wringer washer, because I know Joel is working on it. He's a former Marine. And for you folks that are not military, you never refer to a Marine as an ex-Marine. That's an insult. Proper military courtesy and proper respect from the civilian world. When you meet a Marine, the Marine is a former Marine. And that's one of those nicety to knows. And I'm not going to charge you for that. That's a freebie from the bottom of my heart. But anyway, talking about Earl Nightingale. Oh, goodness gracious. You are entitled. This is what took me a while to get my mind wrapped around this, because when I own a TV show, I tell people we're just going to visit. It's not what we want to say. It's what do the people out there need to hear. And I'm a firm believer in this, ladies and gentlemen. I believe is when we're talking and when the energy is flowing good, or when things are going bad, like we're having a little bit of communication problem here, it's no big deal, because something is going to come forward from that to be able to touch one person. If we just do that, we've done our job today. And when it comes to this is the thing that Earl Nightingale talks about. Same thing that Bill talks about in his book, The 7 Levels of Truth, Mr. Bill Heinrich. All you got to do, now picture this. This was hard for me to do, and I'm still not there. I'm working on it, okay? So I'm not some, I don't have this in my hip pocket yet. I still struggle with it. But there's only two emotions. One is fear and one is love, okay? Everything can be under those two major headings. Everything fear-wise is all physical. And your mind can only see the rearview mirror of life. Your mind cannot project or look through the windshield of life. I think we can easily understand that one. No one has a crystal ball, in other words. With that, with all the fear and all of the negative things that we experience in this life, this is what was so hard for me. All you got to do is just let it go. And when fear goes out of you, love rushes in. And it looks like we got a comment up here. Let me, two comments. Live. Oh man, when you mentioned Earl Nightingale a few weeks back, I found the recording and it is awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It really is. And Earl Nightingale is he's an interesting guy too. He was one of the survivors of the USS Arizona during the Pearl Harbor attack, December the 7th, 1941. You can imagine now some of the men who are listed as survivors there, they were still off because it was on a Sunday morning. They had not made it back to the ship. You might say they were enjoying a late Saturday night, or maybe they had a pass, I don't know. But Earl was on that ship. He saw a lot of the explosions. He saw the flames. He saw people, you can imagine what he saw. And him and others, they helped each other get off there, the survivors. So the reason he was spared, and he knows this, is the fact that he had a higher calling. Now, I want you to stop right there and just think for a moment. You have a higher calling in life. You weren't, 100 years ago, where were you? No one knows, right? We were non-existent. 100 years from now, we're going to be somewhere. And the point of it is that we should not bog ourselves down and get all wound up and caught up in stress and feel like we just can't breathe. Because when I came back from Vietnam, there were times, especially when the first few days I got back, there were times like I was breathing, I could inhale air, but I wasn't getting any oxygen in my body. That's pretty stressful. So I've been there. But my point being, and I'm kind of chopping around a little bit as I'm waiting for, I'm kind of watching the backstage there and waiting for, my brother to come in there. And I know Joel is probably enjoying his fair share of stress right now, bless his heart. But the thing to do is just let all of that go. And when you let the fear out, the love will rush in. Because you are entitled, and I want you to get your mind around this, you are entitled to enjoy love and abundance. You have every right to do that. Nobody can legislate, regulate, or strangulate that right from you, because it comes from a much higher source than they will ever know in this life. You have every right. I don't care if you're in China. I don't care if you're in Africa. I don't care if you don't have enough money to buy a cup of coffee. You are somebody. And you're very, very valuable. And if you love yourself first, then you can start loving others. And just let go of all the things that you cannot control. Think of it like a bird, let's say geese flying through the air in a formation. The hunter's out there and he fires a couple of shots up in the air as the geese fly over, and he misses them. The geese don't stop and turn around and say, "Hey, what's the matter with you? How dare you shoot at me?" They go on, because that missed bullet has nothing to do with them. Think about that for a moment. Think about when the times that we're, at a stoplight or something like that, and we're a little bit, it's proven for some reason, I don't know why, but the second car will always see the light turn green before the first car does most of the time. And people get preoccupied. I've gotten preoccupied. You have to, and someone blow their horn. And I've just got to worry that when they do that, I just, throw up my hand, wave, thank you, and I'm gone. Because all they wanted me to do is just get out of their way. Problem solved, right? But how many people let that get to them and they get upset? Because that's the ego that comes from the physical. When you let that stuff go, your life gets a lot easier. So just imagine if you're sitting there and you're so poor that you cannot afford a cup of coffee. You can just say, hey, I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about things that I cannot control because I'm going to love myself first. I'm going to give thanks for the heartbeat in my veins and the breath in my lungs. There's no store anywhere on planet Earth, not even on Amazon, can you buy extra heartbeats or extra breaths of life. That comes from the Creator. That comes from the realm of love and abundance. Nowhere else. And you can tap into the love and abundance. If you love yourself first and then you love others and you look for a way to be a blessing to others, there's a promise that you're entitled to. And no one can rob that or steal that promise from you. That promise is very simple. Zig Ziglar said for many years, you can get anything out of life that you want, as long as you help other good people get what they want. But that promise is simply this. The person who waters others will be watered themselves. That is a promise from the Creator of the universe, ladies and gentlemen. But notice there's a prerequisite in there. When a person waters others first, they will be watered. So you got to do something first. This is not like some kind of exchange system. It's saying that, once you demonstrate that you want to try to be a blessing to someone else, you're going to be blessed. Nobody can steal that from you. Nobody can stop you from enjoying that. So many people are trying to help poor people out there, and they're always, looking from the physical, how can they solve their physical problems? That's about as fruitless as trying to take a wheelbarrow and a shovel and think that you're going to fill up the Grand Canyon. You may work from sun up to sundown 7 days a week, every day of your life, and you will not even make a dent in the vastness of the Grand Canyon. So therefore, once you get out of the physical, and I know this is hard to do because I struggled with it. I still have struggles in that area too. But I've experienced enough to know that I know that I know that I know. This is not only the right way, this is the only way to live our lives. And I don't know if my buddy Joel that's got him a hammer yet to work on that, work on his problems there, but I sure will. I'm looking forward to him to join us because he was on the phone working with a soldier, a veteran. And I really want Joel to share how PTSD, the tendency for suicide, is more physical than it is mental. And he does a tremendous job in explaining that. And that's what I want to share with you, because once you get your nutrition up, once you get well, hydrated with water, and you're putting the right things in your body and you're weaning yourself away from the bad things in your body, your life is going to improve. Not only physically, but also mentally. And ladies and gentlemen, I need to pay a little bill here. So let me put my glasses on here and act my age. And I got to play a little commercial. We'll be back. We're going to hear from Angel Marie Monticelli, good friend of ours. She's also a host here on the E360 TV network. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Angel Marie Monticelli with Angel Marie Shines. And I had the pleasure, the honor to go through training for the 6-minute webinar. Oh my gosh, this webinar and how it's structured and how they teach it. Thank you, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Thank you, Don McGrath and the whole team for the 6-minute webinar, because you made it so simple, easy. And the way you lined it out with the outline, I can reproduce it and reproduce it. And I'm already getting the engagement. I'm getting people that coming back that are saying, oh, I love this webinar that's so short, so to the point, and I love your products and what I'm selling, but then what I'm also, the services that I provide, and I can do any of this because I have the framework. So thank you so much to the whole team, because the 6-minute webinar totally rocks. Thank you.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We got to check with Mr. Joel and see if he is there. You got your mic muted, and looks like you got your camera off. Have you? Did your hammer fix the problem there, Joel? I know you probably felt like taking a hammer to that thing there, brother. I'll tell you what, I'll just leave it there in case the connection comes in, and that way you won't be backstage and all that. We're just going to drive on. But I want to share a little bit too about the 6-minute webinar, because that's very, very important for you folks out there wanting to get your business across. 6minutewebinar.com, they're one of our marketing partners here on the TV show. And really what they do, all within 6 minutes, you're able to get your message across, what you do, who you can serve, all with a call to action within 6 minutes. And the beauty in that is because a lot of times, if you're like me, I know you have, you get something in, you click on it, you go like, okay. You weren't expecting it, and you look at it, okay, sounds interesting. You click on it, and then it's a big, long, drawn-out webinar or video, whatever you want to call it, and it drives you batty. Because for the first 10 or 15 minutes, whoever's doing the video, they're going on and on and on about the problem. Well, if you didn't understand the problem, you wouldn't be there in the first place, right? And for you doctors out there, let me just give you a tip. I'm not knocking your profession, but you doctors, you want to tell everybody everything. We don't care. We don't care what college you went to. That's important to you. I understand that, but we don't care. What we want to know is one thing. Can you solve our problem or our need in our hour of need? Think about that. And the 6-minute webinar, it's got so many uses. I mean, I used it when I was giving a speech. Got another comment here. Let me see. Wilson says, I'd love to talk to you, sir. Well, send me a message. I mean, you can get in touch with me at, let me put my email address up here. You can send it into the studio here. You can email our host, Inspiration D360 TV. And I see Mr. Joel back there. I'm going to click him on again. I don't know if he's going to be able to talk or whatever. I see that beard and I see the face and all that.
We get on, it starts breaking up.
Pardon me? Yeah, it's maybe a signal there in the, you may have too much metal inside that building or whatever. It's, I know it's aggravating. But anyway, the 6-minute webinar has so many different uses. When I was getting ready to, the 6-minute webinar starts out like this. During this 6-minute webinar, I'm going to show you 3 proven ways that you can boom, 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 whatever it is. The one thing, if you got 5 things that you offer, you need 5 6-minute webinars. Because people are only interested in one thing. During this 6-minute webinar, I'll share with you 3 ways that you can boom, 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 whatever it is. And I use it in a speech. In my presentation, when I was on a summit, the King of Oman was there, and quite a few interesting people. And my point was, I didn't start out when the lady said, "This is Jim Grant. He's a producer and host of Messages of Inspirational Stories on TV." And I didn't start out during my 6-minute webinar. No, that would have been inappropriate. But what I did say after I greeted the crowd, I said, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. During my presentation, I'm going to share with you 3 proven ways that you can get your community involved to make your community a better place to live." Notice I didn't mention my name. She already had. Because a lot of speakers get on stage, they go like, they say their name. "I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I'm a best-selling author. I'm this, I'm that, and I'm the other." And you know what? That has no value to anybody. Joel is popping in and out. And I tell you right now, he's smiling at me. He's a walking. "Hey, brother, how you doing? How is your stress?" Hey, Joel, military man to military man. How is your stress level right now, brother? I mean, you can level with us. You can tell us, how's your stress level?
It's good. I'm used to quite a bit of chaos from my upbringing.
Oh, I hear you, brother. And
Do what I
we
do.
were just going on, and the folks out there in TV land were kind enough to keep watching me and listening to me and putting up with me. That'd be a good way of doing it.
Amen.
But Joel, I want you to share one of the things that you've shared in the past, and that is about how depression, suicide, PTSD, all those things, they're more physical than they are mental. Am I correct on that, sir?
Absolutely correct.
Would you share that with us, please?
We call it the enteric system with the gut. Your gut has its own nervous system, and your gut talks to your heart and your brain. We've been programmed and brought up and taught that depression, anxiety, PTSD is physical, or is mental. And now we're starting to learn it's physical. So, for instance, if you think you're going to watch news all evening long and then go eat at McDonald's and go to your shrink and talk things through and fix yourself, it don't work that way. You have to eat right. You have to live right. You need spirituality of some sort, whether it's God, source, energy, and you need an environment that's conducive to life. A lot of people escape to Alaska and they go live alone, and they're one of the top suicidal states in America due to that reason.
We're social creatures, aren't we?
Yes, we sure are. So part of the thing I've learned is you need to get back to your church, your community, to your veteran groups, Rotary clubs, things like that. Things we used to do in America a lot, all the time.
Right.
This loneliness in America is bad. There's no doubt it's bad. It's hurting us.
It really is, Joel, because like you say, regardless of where you go for your spiritual well-being, it'll be the right calling for you if it doesn't bring anything that's negative that comes from the gates of hell, to put it shortly.
Correct.
Which is hate, because we got to learn how to love one another. And we got to learn to stop labeling people and stop hating people and stop all this spewing evilness and wickedness on society. That does not come from any higher source. That only comes from a very, very low source.
Yes.
And that source will never exist anywhere else except planet Earth.
Right.
It's that weak. And, when you first started talking about that goes right hand in hand with what Dr. George Grant talks about, the gut health, the gut and the heart. He said the other day on the TV that the gut has so many signals going to the brain, and the brain only has a few signals going back to the gut. But the gut, the heart, and the brain are all in perfect harmony. And when you think about it, it has to be, because how do you know how to breathe when you're sleeping? Where do those signals come from? Or your heart to continue to beat? Because you wake up in the morning, if you're not able to breathe, or your heart's not beating, you're not going to have a good day. In fact, you're going to have a very, very short day. You're going to be shaking hands. You're going to be shaking hands with the Undertaker before the stroke of noon.
And it's actually happened to me before. A lot of your listeners
Really?
don't realize when I was sick and dying,
Mhm.
I couldn't breathe properly because the
Wow.
signals were so bad. I had to count. I literally had to count sheep, or, I'm a Marine, so I was counting lions. I didn't want to count sheep per se. I kid you not. It's crazy when you're going through those things.
I understand.
That's how sick I was. And through the years, I've learned how to eat organic and be healthy and keep moving and drink proper water and filter
Right.
my air. Yeah, it's tremendous.
It really is. It makes a huge difference. And I've got to give a shout out to our charity that we sponsor. I haven't done that yet, and I apologize. The Shelter to Soldier. And yeah, that's a wonderful organization. And I got to tell you the story behind how that got selected. Number one, we had Mr. X on 2 weeks ago for 2 weeks, and a marketing guru. All the marketing people who are well known, they either know who Mr. X is or they've taken courses from him. If they don't know who Mr. X is, well, I wish them well. But anyway, he says, "What charity do you guys have for your show?" And I thought, we've been thinking about that. And I texted Donna, and I says, "Donna," told her what was going on. I says, "We need a charity." And she says, "Shelter to Soldier." Within 2 or 3 seconds, she was back. I mean, just very quickly. She didn't even have to sit down and, let's see here, She didn't even have to think about it. And Shelter to Soldier, it's a perfect fit for us because, listen up, folks, they go into shelters and they select the dogs that usually are the ones that's going to be put to sleep. And they take these dogs, they train them in a very special way, and these dogs become service dogs, companion dogs, and every single soldier that has suffered from PTSD who has received one of these dogs has not committed suicide.
Right.
Now, also out there in TV land, there might be someone that's looking for a good cause. Well, what about rescuing some of these dogs and training them how to deal with depression, people that's lonely? Because a lot of people, we're social creatures. If we don't have love in our life, we're going to be totally out of balance. And, Joel, I mean, these dogs, just being there for them, to help them to recognize when they're depressed or recognize when they're, upset or lonely, and show them unconditional love. Oh, that's better than any shot in the arm you can get anywhere, huh?
Amen. It's huge.
Yeah.
I've actually been bringing my dog Shetty, 16-year-old border collie, to Dr. Clearfield's office. Yeah, patients love him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the dogs are probably, when people come there, they'll probably speak to the dog quicker than they would a human.
Amen to that. It's huge. It's really huge. And from what I've heard, the Veterans Administration just got authorized to start a new program with dogs.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
Really?
it's either starting now or it's going to start at the beginning of the year. I'm not too sure. I just saw through an email flash, but at least they're going to start, because a lot of veterans have been complaining about that. A lot of problems with the dogs out there. Yeah,
you keep me posted on that, because we'd like to do a week on that about the dogs, because dogs are such a tremendous, it's been, I don't know who labeled it, it's been for forever, dogs are man's best friend and all that. And we know that.
Right.
But think of all the dogs that just are homeless, and they know they're there to serve a higher calling, and they need you to reach out and give them that opportunity. I'm glad the Veterans Administration is going to do that. So we want to be able to give them some airtime. Yeah. And Shelter to Soldier, I like that. That's a wonderful organization.
Right.
And you know Donna Guinois very well, don't you?
Yes, sure do.
Oh yeah. What I did with Donna one day, I gotta share this here with you. Let's see, is it still here? I might have taken it down.
Mm.
But oh no. We were on the show. And see, laughter is good medicine for you.
Amen.
I find ways to find humor. We're live on the TV show, just like we are now. And I type up this little marquee you're going to see right now.
Okay.
And
Yep.
Donna's talking. It says daytime award-winning TV producer and host, Donna Guinois. That's the way you pronounce her last name. And I'm sitting there and she's talking and I'm waiting for her to look down at the marquee and she doesn't, because I'm sitting there like this. Because I'm wanting to, and when I mentioned it to her, I says, "Hey Donna, congratulations on your award," or something like that. She looked at, she started cracking up laughing. And I told her, I said, and I told the audience, I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the way she won that award, I nominated her for that award. I voted for her to win that award, and I was unanimous in my vote." And all it was just something to put a little humor.
You know, speaking of humor,
Yes.
it's gotten quite stressful around here in Reno, Nevada, especially with the traffic. We have a lot of people moving from California to Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I do to counter that is I have Sirius radio and I listen to comedy whenever I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
It's been mind-blowingly awesome. It's how I de-stress a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because laughter is good medicine for you. I wish I could explain it better than just saying that, but laughter is really, I hate to say just really good for you, because we know it's really good for you, but I wish I could, I didn't think about talking about laughter today, so I didn't properly prepare for that. But laughter is so beneficial for us. It releases a lot of stress.
They've proved it in a lab test.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter and music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they actually, there's I believe it's a website and a small radio called Whole Tones, WHOLETONES, Whole Tones. And they honed in on the proper frequency that lowers your stress. And it also works for animals. And they've proved it through blood tests. It's absolutely
wow.
powerful.
That is incredible. So that's Whole Tunes, WHOLETUNE, tones.
Whole tones, correct. You bet.
Okay, let me put that on the banner there, folks. Since I've got a degree in Southern slang, a lot of people don't know,
right.
Cannot understand my. Okay.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, let's see here. If you find a website for it as I'm talking, just let me know and I'll add it to the marquee there. But I got Whole Tones, WHOLETONES, because, one of the things that I haven't done it yet, and I don't even have a good excuse.
Let me see if I can type it in there. I just upgraded the iPhone and iPad, and it's got a new Safari browser that's difficult to use. WHOLETONES.com.
Okay. All right. Let me back that thing up and I'll make that correction, because that's a nicety to know. That's what I love about this show, because, we provide great information. We're not here to, hawk anything or try to sell you, By the way, see me after the show. I got a great deal on a bridge up in San Francisco. I'm going to unload today, half price.
Nice.
Nice. But yeah, that's a nicety to know. I didn't know about Whole Tones there. Let's see here. There we go. WholeTones.com. And because what I was going to say,
that's a little radio right there.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a nicety to know. I'm glad you came on finally hung in there and you didn't let stress eat you up, or your beard didn't catch on fire or anything,
No. I was going back and forth. I'm in between construction workers. The nurses are out there eating lunch. One of the ladies that's in charge is coming in and out of the room, and you got to smile. You just got to be like,
oh, yeah.
You're funny, actually.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I'm still
I wouldn't do
waiting for
what
you.
I did if I stressed out.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for you to give me the reason why you couldn't show up.
I'm going to blame it on Apple because I downloaded the new upgrade, and I couldn't even figure out how to use Safari. It's crazy.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. But it was, just for you to show up and just share that whole tunes, because I'm going to put a fountain in this room, a water fountain
Yeah.
in my house, because there's something about, and I used to live in the country, and hearing the water
Yeah.
running,
Right.
coming down the side of the mountain. Oh, especially when it rained, coming down the rocks and all that. There's something about that so soothing. It just puts you out in outer space. I mean, you sleep like a baby. And that goes right in perfect harmony with what you said there about whole tone. Excuse me. Go ahead, sir.
D Minder. Let me see if D. Okay, D space Minder Pro. Nope. Let's see if that's it. Let me
Just when you find it, just go ahead and
So D space. Let me put it in the app for you. This is a app that helps you with vitamin D. Tells you when to go outside, depending on where you live, to get your vitamin D from outside. DRO. Boom. Pretty powerful. Because we really usually, I don't know, between 10 and 1 is usually the time you should go outside and spend as much time as you can in the sun. And then walking barefoot on the ground also helps because now you're grounding yourself. So 15, 30 minutes can make a huge difference in depression, anxiety, stress, all the above.
Yeah. I've heard of that before about being barefooted on the ground.
Right.
I've heard that somewhere before. And
they call it grounding. Yeah.
Grounding? Okay.
Grounding,
okay.
correct.
Well, after the show, ladies and gentlemen, let's go barefooting outside. What do you say?
Let's see.
That might be a little small for the camera to pick it up, or
true. Well, and we're having these technical difficulties. It's tough.
That's a nice, technical difficulty is a nice way of saying, ladies and gentlemen, we're a little mentally challenged when it comes to this all this technical stuff like Safari and internet and all these wonderful things.
Right.
But goodness gracious, we got about 5 minutes left on the show, and this has been a fun show for me. Even though it's we've had some technical things of this nature, but it's no big deal. It really isn't. The main thing of it is that there is ways you can reduce your stress. Walking and talking is a great way because you got the body moving. And when I say talking, it's best to have someone with you, because if you're walking and talking to yourself, they're going to look at you kind of strange. I know that for a fact, because there's sometimes when I'm walking, I'll start talking, and if people look at you like you're weird.
I think they're used to it too now, though, because a lot of people have their headphones in their ears and you don't know if they're talking on the phone or not. So.
Yeah. I was, there was a guy, I guess we've all seen the funny thing, but there was a guy, he didn't have the earbuds, with the wires like I did. He had the little Bluetooth back years ago when people used the Bluetooth, and it was on on one side of his, and he was standing there and he says, I really don't care. I don't even know why you're bringing that up. And I walked by him, I look at him, and I started practicing social distancing with him long before we heard about COVID or coronavirus. Because,
right.
Because I remember he said that. And then he says, well, listen, hon, I'm here and I'm going to pick up the things you want. If there's something else you want, please let me know. I'll pick it up and I'll be home. Okay. Right. I'm just got off work and I'm tired. So then I knew he was talking on the phone. I probably figured he had a Bluetooth. When you walk by somebody and they say something like that, and you're like, okay, you don't know if they're talking to themselves or not. But anyway, walking and talking is great.
Right.
That's one of the things they tell car salesmen.
Yeah. Right.
Get the customer walking across the lot. Let me share show you some vehicles down here. We got some new trucks over here. It just came in this morning. Would you like to see them? And walk up, get them walking, and they'll start talking because they start loosening up.
Yeah. Agree.
And the good news of it is you can go out for a walk.
Yeah.
And you can just start, if you want to talk to yourself, you have my blessing. You go right ahead. If
Sometimes
anybody says it,
sometimes you have to.
yes. Sometimes it's the only way you can have an intelligent conversation.
Right. Amen to that.
Because one day I was in the house and I was thinking out loud. That's what we call it. We call it thinking out loud. Yeah, I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah.
And Evelyn said, "Are you talking to me or to yourself?"
Right.
And I said, "I'm talking to myself." And I almost made that one step too far.
Right.
I almost said that way I can have an intelligent conversation. But fortunately, my brain says, "Hey, moron, don't say that." That's a good way to wind up doing some hard time in the old hacienda. You know what I mean?
Right. Amen to that.
Excuse me, brother. And, it's really amazing because we're talking about the gut health and all that. And in your job, the things that you deal with people who come in with, you guys in the field that you work in, dealing with people who have, who suffer from PTSD, who suffer from depression, how do you handle that yourself?
I surround myself with positive, powerful, spiritual friends and family. I really do. And I put up a barrier with negative people, negative family. I've learned to break away from them. And like I said, I eat right. I walk, I ground. Everything I talk about, I do. I haven't gotten the whole tones yet, but I will listen to reggae or I'll listen to religious music. Sometimes I'll rock out. And I have mentors and my own coaches that I talk to, yourself, Don, Bill. I reach out, and if I start to stress out, I break away, and sometimes I'll shut everything off and just be by myself. And
I got to mention something here. Wilson Gomez, click on the comments up there. Can you click on the comments?
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Do you see Wilson's comments there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know Wilson? Because I don't.
No.
Okay. Wilson, we'll reach out to you as quickly as we can today. And could you give him a call, please? Because I've got a couple things I got to do. Please.
I'll call him as soon as we're done with this.
Okay. Copy his phone number. And so I'm going to tell Wilson to take his phone number off of Facebook, because that is anybody and everybody can see it. And you may have some knucklehead, call you or
Just
something like
a lot
that.
of sales calls.
Yeah. Exactly. So Wilson, you got the phone number there?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay. And whoops, I didn't mean to show it. I was going to copy it there, but whoops, I can't copy it there. But anyway, just put it up there in the private chat, if you would, and that way I can copy it and put it on my things here. I don't have the ability to do that because we're in the studio, and you put it on Facebook there, Wilson. So please remove that from there. Maybe I can remove it. Yeah, I'll delete the comment there.
Okay. Hello, Jordan.
Because because you got your phone number there, and we want to make sure that you're secure, because I just got had somebody steal my identity, or not steal my identity, but they created an identity and they got on some social, what do they call it, app, WhatsApp or whatever. And the whole time the guy's pretending to be me. The whole time the guy's pretending to be me. And he's, anyway, I got a couple of emails in, a couple of guys, and they said, well, we're going to, come down and straighten you out. And I said, well, I'm not that person. I'm not in control of him. And so it wouldn't be advisable to come to a Vietnam veteran's house with the intent of straightening him out when he hasn't done anything to begin with. You may not have a good day on that one there, and that's not a threat or anything
Right.
like that. It's just that I just got zero tolerance for nonsense. And my goodness, our time is gone. Joel,
I
thank
know
you
it is.
so much for putting up with all that technical problem, being here, my man. And just
Amen.
think, the two things that you gave was just two bombshells there. You gave us the D-Minder Pro, and you also gave us the whole tones, tones,
Yes.
excuse me.
Tones,
I got to
right.
check that out. Ladies and
It's the
gentlemen, our time
frequency.
is,
Yes,
Yeah.
frequency. It's powerful.
Mhm.
Energy,
Yeah.
like Bill Heinrich says.
yeah, I'm going to check that out. That's the website right there, wholetones.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. And brother, it's always good to, because I know a Marine won't quit. No, sir. I got to salute you on that one there.
Right.
Thank
You know
thank
it.
you so much. And we're going to do this again real soon, brother. It's been too
Yes,
much
we
fun.
are.
Yeah.
You bet. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Honor.
Thank you, Joel. We'll see you later. Bye-bye, folks.